I can't tell you the last time I've been so encouraged by seeing Chelsea draw with 0-0 at Anfield, but this is where we are right now. Let's get into it.
And blue is the colour. Essien! Drogba! Lampard! That could be the championship!
Greetings! Welcome back to Couch Critic with me, Dennis P, for what is your Chelsea match review, but more specifically, a tactical synopsis of Chelsea's performance at Anfield versus Liverpool. But before we get into all that, do me the quick favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification button to keep up with the latest and the newest. And if you don't already know, I do have a sponsor for the show. They go by the name of Major League Socks. And fellas, if you ever want to walk in the footsteps of greatness, you know what to do. Just hit them up. The link will be in the description. Guys, I got a smile on my face for the first time in a long time, and let me tell you why. I really do believe that there's reason to be optimistic. You know, the new signings, Mudryk in particular, you know, obviously João Felix on loan and Behdad Eghbali in the defense have given me all sorts of confidence in Chelsea going forward once we get healthy again. And, you know, this game today at Anfield was one to test out some of these new pieces, see how they coalesce, how they fit together, and there's all sorts of signs there that Chelsea are starting to understand how to play under Graham Potter and allowing for the real quality that we do possess right now to come to the fore. In this match review, we're going to be focusing on Chelsea playing out from the back, Chelsea in transition, getting forward, and we're going to be looking at some of those debuts, obviously Mudryk being one, and we're also going to be looking at Behdad Eghbali, who I thought had a fantastic game playing next to Thiago Silva, who almost every match can be man of the match. Okay, so Chelsea came out in predominantly a 4-2-3-1, but it didn't play like that on the pitch. Obviously, we saw a back three a lot of the time, especially when we're playing out from the back, building attacks in the back three of Trev Chalobah, Behdad Eghbali, and Thiago Silva, and then you had the flanks hugged by Cucurella and Ziyech. And then in the middle, you had Jorginho next to Lewis Hall, and just in front of them, you had Mason Mount and Conor Gallagher. And this shape change gave Liverpool all sorts of problems. Like, granted, the vaunted Liverpool press, counter press, hasn't really been on display the last little while. I feel like he ran those guys, and Klopp ran those guys into the ground, and they just don't have the same sort of verve, energy, and, you know, passion when pressing. But at all this, it still is very dangerous because they compact the midfield so much and they make it very hard to play through them. So what Graham Potter did in this one is he made our midfield four very, very compact. Now the beauty of this playing out from the back and breaking the press was it gave a lot of people an opportunity to show for the ball. Obviously here you see Mason Mount coming from deep to come and get on the ball, and then he swings it out to Cucurella, who's in acres of space. Like I said, like Liverpool obviously like to condense the middle areas of the pitch, but because we had four in there with obviously Jorginho, Lewis Hall sitting a little bit deeper, and then Conor Gallagher and Mason Mount, it gave Chelsea the options to send runners from different angles, and I don't think that Liverpool really picked up on that in the first half at all, where the runs were coming from. It gave a lot of people the opportunity to come deep and get on the ball. When we did get on the ball, it opened up the flanks to Cucurella, to Ziyech, to basically get on the ball and then switch the ball to the opposite flank. And on so many occasions in the first half, you saw Ziyech get on the ball in acres of space, and his first action was trying to get Kai Havertz in behind the defense. And on a few occasions, he was successful in making that pass, but for whatever reason, the plays broke down. But the move to play out from the back and get numbers going forward was exceptional. Obviously, Graham Potter has been studying the game tape because this is exactly how you beat Liverpool. You know, they love to press up the pitch, they love to condense it and make it hard for you to play through them. But at the same time, they play such a high line. They're very susceptible to direct balls in behind, and with a little bit more pace in our attacking three or attacking two, I think that Chelsea would have had all sorts of opportunities to score goals today. For large chunks of this game, it felt like a game of cat and mouse, with Chelsea trying to play out from the back and Liverpool showing press but not really aggressively going after the ball. And a lot of what I saw was basically Chelsea trying to, using the back line of Thiago Silva, Behdad Eghbali, and Trev Chalobah to entice Liverpool to come forward and then just play through the lines. But Liverpool were very disciplined in taking away the middle areas of the pitch and not overcommitting, because what Chelsea wanted to do was pull them forward, open up the gaps of space in the half spaces, and then play through them. And, you know, it would have worked. I feel like it would have worked because Liverpool do not have the legs in the midfield anymore. They're just very porous there. But I think what we saw today was, Jurgen Klopp recognizing that he didn't have the legs to really pursue the ball, press the ball as, they normally would. So they were basically just keeping it compact and tight in the midfield and forcing Chelsea to play it out to the flanks, which they were very successful at. Every time Chelsea got on the ball, worked it through the lines and got it onto Mason Mount, Gallagher, Lewis Hall, Jorginho, and they switched it out to the flanks. Chelsea were in acres of space, and time again, when we got on the ball and we're looking to play it, that diagonal cross ball to get one of our runners in behind, it was always working, it was always on. But unfortunately, the connection wasn't there, the connectivity wasn't there. And you see Ziyech trying to switch it to the opposite flank or play it in behind the defense to get Kai Havertz 1v1. And, the connectivity just wasn't there in the final third, unfortunately. But the ideation and the idea was there. I mean, obviously, Graham Potter studied a lot of game film with Liverpool because that's exactly where they're weak right now. They just don't have the ability to press high up the pitch. And yet they still continue to do that, or at least show it. And they also don't have the legs in behind when they play that high line, when they're condensing the pitch to play that high line. So Chelsea were basically trying to hit them. First of all, suck them in and then hit them over the top. And if we had more pace on the pitch today, I really think that we would have been in on goal at least 3 or 4 times today. I mean, there were even the games last year where Timo Werner was a fixture in those particular games where he would just make the runs off the ball, and he was almost in almost every time, whether he was onside or offside was something else. But I really think that Chelsea have the ability, or recognize the ability to really hurt them with the direct balls in behind and whatnot. It just didn't come off today. But again, the build-up play was there, and the recognition from the runners, the recognition from the ball receivers to play it into space was obviously rehearsed, and it looked like it could have been effective today. The things that I liked about how our midfield functioned in terms of like breaking the press today was they were all on the same wavelength. They understood when the runs were supposed to happen, when you needed to come deep to come collect. So in this instance here, you see Trev Chalobah getting the ball. He's getting pressed, and Gallagher recognizes that right away, and he immediately gets on his bike to try and get up the field. At the same time, simultaneously, you see Ziyech coming deep to try and give him an option. And with him coming deep, it pulls the fullback. It was Robertson on that side. If you see here, it pulls him towards Ziyech and gives Conor Gallagher the space to get in behind. Unfortunately, Gallagher could not handle the pass, but if he would have been able to take it down under control and then play it again, like Chelsea would have been in again. But again, throughout the first half in particular, Chelsea used this tactic to perfection. The only thing that was missing was, again, the execution in the final third, and we'll speak on that later. Now, the first 10 minutes of the second half were just dreadful. Chelsea could not get out in open play. They could not build any sort of transition game, and that just shows a disorganization when transitioning from defense to offense. Our transition game when we're in open play is just poor. And we basically showed our weaknesses. We were unable to string together any passes. There was a real lack of understanding, the decision making, the lack of composure under pressure. All of these things were just brought to the forefront until one man came onto the pitch, and his name is Mykhailo Mudryk. Everything, and I mean everything I saw from Mykhailo Mudryk today led me to believe that this guy is a special player. I know it's just Liverpool. I know he was running against Milner, and there's all sorts of things that come into it, but he really does understand the game. And there's certain things that you just cannot coach. You cannot teach. That blazing pace to get in behind, the recognition of when he's going to get his opportunities. All of these things are just innate to this guy. He understands the game really, really well, has the technique, pace, power, everything to be, just at the very, very top of the game. And everything that he did today when he got on the ball led to an opportunity for Chelsea. I don't really want to speak too heavily about this guy. I really do believe he's going to grow. He's showing me that he's going to grow and grow and grow. But I was excited for the first time in a long time because I recognize now that Chelsea have the pieces to really threaten really good teams. We have the pieces to threaten really good teams right now in the final third. We have somebody that can disrupt lines. We have a guy that could, that can play through teams. I have a guy that recognizes when to lay off, when to dribble past, when to run in behind. Like, his decision making is exactly what Chelsea needs, and he's not even really a creator per se. I think he's more of a decider. He's a guy that he's a match winner for you. He's a guy that when he gets on the ball, he makes the decisions that disrupt the back line, disrupt the defense. And when people say that this guy needs space, he needs space, I really don't think that they understand what this guy's about. He's not a guy that needs space. He can utilize space, but he's a guy that creates space. That's where his strengths lie. He's a guy that attracts so many defenders to him and creates space for others because he's just so gifted on the ball. He just appears to me like he's the guy that wants to decide matches. He wants to be the guy that is on the ball to decide matches, whether it is by dribbling past and getting somebody into open space or by creating his own space by dribbling through and like creating a shot from there. But everything that I saw in the 35 minutes that he came onto the pitch today just left me in awe. Like, I really do feel like we have a player now that can threaten teams in a way that we never had before. There's another new signing that came onto the pitch today and, you know, partnered with Thiago Silva for the most part and was just immense. And that was obviously Behdad Eghbali. I really do believe that this guy, like the things that I didn't know much about his game. Admittedly, I didn't watch Monaco, but I was shocked. His composure on the ball and his ability to play those passes, you know, one-touch passes, line-breaking passes, you know, the passes that go into the middle of the pitch to Jorginho and stuff like that when teams are pressing. His composure is just out of this world, you know, for a guy that's like 21 years old. You know, it's really, really good to see. It's great to see, you know, a guy that is just, you know, a man mountain first, but also so calm and composed on the ball. And, you know, if there's any doubt that, you know, Chelsea have found a left-sided center back who, you know, they can build with going forward, I mean, that was a race today, you know, going up against somebody as tricky as Salah, who, you know, is very, very pacey, and he offered nothing, you know, and, you know, Gakpo, again, offered nothing. Every time that he got on the ball for Chelsea, he made the right decisions, whether passing it or, you know, just laying it off to Thiago Silva. He wasn't fearful of their press. Like, every time he got on the ball, the easy ball would have been out to Cucurella. The incisive ball that would have been the one that got Chelsea on the ball and then moving forward was the ball inward to Jorginho. And every time, I say about 8 or 9 times out of 10, he played that ball into Jorginho, and then we were able to build the attack from there. It was just great to see this guy understand where the soft spots were in the press and not have any fear about where to play it. The composure, you know, the collectedness, and just the ability on the ball was very much on display, and it's going to give us a lot to look forward to. You know, Thiago Silva, under the tutelage of Thiago Silva, you know, this kid's going to have an immense future if he continue on this trajectory. It's a lot to build on. 2 games do not make a career, but I can tell you right now, there are building blocks there for this guy to become a monster defender. I'm just excited, guys. In theory, I really do believe that Chelsea have done enough to fix this team, you know, offensively with Mudryk, with Felix and Madueke. I feel like we have a lot to work with in the offensive phase of the game now. And then in defense, Behdad Eghbali, you know, the return of Cucurella, if this is any indication of where his game is going. You know, we're getting healthy with Fofana coming back, Reece James, Chilwell. I really do feel like our problems defensively are going to be sorted as well. It's only the midfield now where we really need to see, you know, some sort of a return to, you know, just quality, you know. And I mean, dare I say it, if N'Golo Kante comes back into the side and is anywhere near 2021 form, I really think Chelsea have to be considered a dark horse for the Champions League. I really do. I really, really do. I think that the players that we've added this winter in particular have put us into that conversation. If, of course, our midfield is sorted and we get the return to the N'Golo Kante that basically won us the Champions League in 2021. Anywhere near that form, and Chelsea become a very, very dangerous outfit in that competition. But I do think I'm going to wrap it up there. I don't want to go too far with this. You know, Chelsea didn't win the game, and, you know, not a bad point going to Anfield, but, you know, I really feel like we deserved all 3. We played well enough to take all 3 points. And again, just the frustrations in the final third, which I don't anticipate being a problem going forward because, like I said, we've added some real quality up there. Real quality when you think of Mudryk, when you think of João Felix and Madueke. Like, all of these guys I feel like are going to add something in the final third for Chelsea. And to speak on that, I really do feel like I like the partnership that could form between Ziyech and Madueke. Like, Madueke is a little bit different in terms of what he wants to do on that right side. But the variation on what we can do on that right side now with Ziyech, his ball delivery, his one-touch passes into space and whatnot, I feel like the two of them could give us different options on that right flank, which is what you want essentially. And then, of course, you have Raheem Sterling to come back eventually and Mudryk on the left. Man, the propositions are looking tasty, guys. Really, really tasty. If we can sort out the midfield, who knows, maybe we go back in the window and bring in Caicedo, who I don't want to see us play overs for, but given what I'm seeing right now, the threatening aspects that are developing around the pitch right now, Reece James, Mudryk, Felix, you know, all these guys, like Kai Havertz, you know, building with these guys, I really think that we have a dangerous team, a team that people, you may underestimate because we haven't been playing the best football, but the pieces that we've added and the health that we're now starting to see come back into the side may be an X factor going forward. But until then, I don't want to say too much because I don't know how these pieces will fit together. It's very hard to predict, but in my head, I can see this being very, very dangerous. Until then though, keep the blue flag flying high and